Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of Codo's Cinema. And today we are doing my top 10 favorite fourth installments. And I'm your host, Mark Codo. Now, just to be clear, these are basically fourth installments for or movies, I should say. So that means fourth installments can fall into a certain category whether it's a sequel, prequel, spin-off, continuation, or just a reboot, or in any type of movie category. So yes. So expect to see a couple, maybe at least one or two prequels or spin-offs, maybe a few sequels and like reboots or something. So anyway, on we go. Number 10, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Okay, it may be the first installment of the prequel trilogy, but it is the fourth installment of the Star Wars franchise. And yes, we can all agree that Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, is not everybody's favorite Star Wars movie, despite the flaws that it has with some characters and plots and writing, particularly Jar Jar Binks, and yes, we can all agree on that, but that doesn't mean it's not bad. It's not terrible. It's not terrible, but for me, it's actually a pretty good fourth installment in the Star Wars franchise. And from what I like about Episode 1 is particularly the action sequences, some of the acting, particularly Ewan McGregor's performance as Obi-Wan Kenobi, including the pod race sequence, sequence, as well as the final battle between Obi-Wan Kenobi, Darth Maul. Switch that around. Obi-Wan Kenobi, Qui-Gon Jinn, and Darth Maul. The final battle itself is still the highlight of Episode 1. Not to mention John Williams' musical score that always gives me excitement and hype for Star Wars. Literally anything that John Williams does for music in any of his films is literally good. It's literally real good. And continuing forward, I know, yes, I agree. Star Wars Episode 1 may not be everyone's favorite, but hey, it's a favorite of mine in the fourth installment. Alright, moving on. Number 9, X-Men Origins Wolverine. Okay, people, yes. Some of the movies I have on this list will probably going to be some that are pretty bad, but some of the bad movies that I called so bad they're good, I actually enjoy. So yes. Oh, and by the way, spoiler alerts for these movies I forgot to mention. Anyway, X-Men Origins Wolverine is the fourth installment of the X-Men series. Yes, that is right. That is correct. X-Men Origins Wolverine is the fourth installment of the X-Men franchise, not to mention the first installment of the Wolverine standalone trilogy. Now, yes, to be fair, this movie did have a lot of problems, particularly the plot, the overuse of CGI, particularly in Wolverine's claws, although I think the claws are cool, but I didn't realize that the CGI in the claws was pretty bad in this movie. Not to mention the characters not being at their source material, particularly Deadpool. Yes, we all know what happened to Deadpool in that movie, and thankfully the 2016 Deadpool movie poked fun of that. So, yep. Although, let's talk about why X-Men Origins Wolverine is considered to be my favorite fourth installment. So, what I actually like about this movie is basically the chemistry between Wolverine and Sabretooth, or should I say, Victor Creed, played by Liv Schreiber, and as always, Hugh Jackman plays Wolverine perfectly, and I actually like their chemistry and rivalry in this movie. They actually did pretty well in this movie, particularly based on their rivalry, since they are mostly rivals in the comics. And what I also like about this movie is basically that's kind of what I like about this movie. Although I do like the action sequences, though they're very good. I really enjoyed their action sequences. They were very good. Although the story itself, I mean, yes, the story itself may be bad, but I actually enjoyed the story. It's actually pretty good origin story for a standalone Wolverine film. But yes, it did have the X Men elements to it, and with other Wolverine sequels, it actually builds up to a pretty good Wolverine trilogy. So that's why I like X-Men Origins Wolverine as one of my favorite fourth installments. Yep. All right, moving forward, number 8, Rocky 4. The fourth installment of the Rocky franchise has Sylvester Stallone going up against Ivan Drago, played by Dolph Lundgren. Now, yes, for an 80s movie, there is bound to be some cheesy moments, and that kind of makes sense. That really does make sense. But yes, even though some people didn't like Rocky 4, but I actually do enjoy Rocky 4 because of the soundtrack that they had was actually pretty good of 80s music. It did had a good sense of fun in the soundtrack and something to tap along when watching this movie. Not to mention the final fight between Rocky and Ivan is considered to be one of the greatest fights of all time in the Rocky franchise. And yes, it is sad that Rocky had to fight Ivan Drago due to Apollo Creed getting killed in the ring by Ivan Drago. And yes, that is pretty sad. But anyway, the film itself is actually pretty good for an 80s movie. 80s movie, the film itself is actually pretty good, and I actually do enjoy Rocky 4 for the soundtrack and for the soundtrack, the final fights, and I thought the performances of Sylvester Stallone and Dolph Lundgren are very good. I mean, they literally did very well with the final fights. All right, moving forward. Number 7, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I feel like this movie gets a lot of hate for the CGI, and I can understand that. But at the same time, it's actually a pretty good film, and it did get some good reviews. It did get a good score of 77% on Rotten Tomatoes, and the reviews were actually pretty good, pretty solid, and positive. But yes, it did have its flaws. But let's explain why I like Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. So basically, it is the fourth installment of the Indiana Jones franchise. As always, Harrison Ford puts up a very good performance as Indiana Jones, and this takes place in 1957. So basically, during the parts of the Cold War. Anyway, so basically, this has Indiana Jones going on an adventure, finding the crystal skull. And what I actually like about this movie, the action sequences were actually pretty good. I mean, I think some of them were practical. While yes, like most of them was by using visuals. Particularly, I think the jungle chase did had some CGI moments. Yes, with the flying the monkeys and Shia LaBeouf swinging with the monkeys, and yeah, that was kind of one of the other aspects of why this movie wasn't that good. But anyway, moving forward, I do enjoy this movie. I mean, like I said, the action sequences. Although I do enjoy John Williams' musical score, which again he did a very amazing job with the score. Characters were also interesting, including Karen Allen's return as Miriam Ravenwood, which is actually surprising. And fun fact, this was actually my first Indiana Jones movie that I have ever seen in theaters back in 2008. That was literally a movie I actually enjoyed. It was pretty good. It's not bad. It's actually pretty good, and that's why I like this movie. I really do enjoy this movie. All right, moving forward. Number 6, Jurassic World. All right, even though Jurassic World is kind of a reboot, but it still serves as a fourth installment to the Jurassic Park franchise. Now, this did introduce 2 new characters, including rising star Chris Pratt as Owen. I think that's his name. Yeah, I believe that's his name. And now in this movie, they created another dinosaur called the Indominus Rex, which is actually, I believe they call it a genetic hybrid or something. But anyway, what I like about Jurassic World is basically the visuals of the dinosaurs are very good. I thought the story itself was actually real good. They actually handled it pretty well, and not to mention, it did had a very awesome final battle between the Indominus Rex and the T-Rex. That is literally amazing. Something that fans were waiting for since the first 3 Jurassic Park movies. Not to mention, always the final battle literally reminded all of us of how good the first Jurassic Park movie was. Literally, even though I do enjoy Jurassic World, I think it's a good fourth installment in the Jurassic Parks franchise. But the original Jurassic Park movie will always be a classic. Literally, a very good classic, and we can't wait to see what the third Jurassic World movie will look like pretty soon and sometime in 2020. Yep. All right, moving forward. Number 5, Toy Story 4. Okay, so anyway, I had a couple of doubts with Toy Story 4 before it came out. Anyway, I didn't know what the plot will be like, what the story will look like. Because Toy Story 3 did had a good send-off. It had a very good ending and send-off to the toys, including Andy. But actually, after the movie trailers came out, I actually had a change of heart. I actually thought the trailers looked pretty good, and when I went to see this movie, it was very good. I actually really, really enjoyed it. Not to mention, the animation is actually pretty good. They did update the animation a little bit. Well, even for a Disney Pixar movie, it's actually pretty good. Not to mention, this movie did honor Don Rickles, Don Rickles. I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing this correctly. Who voiced Mr. Potato Head? He passed away before the production of this film. And fun fact, they actually used some archive audio footage from the other Toy Story movies, including video games, to rewrite some of his dialogue, and I thought they did pretty well with it. Anyway, it did brought back Bo Peep, which is actually surprising because I think that's what people were wondering for this fourth film. Will they ever bring back Bo Peep? And that was actually a surprise, and I thought that was actually pretty good. And yes, there were some callbacks, including some new callbacks of what it means to be a toy. And I thought the new characters like Tony Hale as I think that's how I'm saying that. Tony Hale voiced Forky, with a new addition to with Keanu Reeves voicing Duke Kaboom, including Keegan-Michael Key as a stuffed duck and Jordan Peele as a stuffed bunny with crazy vision ideas, which I thought was very funny. Literally very funny. Literally, I like the new characters too. And I thought that send-off and the send-off at the end was actually pretty good. I mean, like, spoiler alerts, Woody leaves the gang to be with Bo Peep at the end of the movie, which was actually heartbreaking, emotional, and very good send-off for Woody and the gang, which I thought that was very good. I thought that was very, very good. And depending whether or not they continue with the Toy Story franchise or not, but I thought Toy Story 4 was pretty good. And that got me thinking, they'll probably do some spin-offs with Duke Kaboom, or maybe with the stuffed duck and the stuffed bunny for future shorts, for future spin-offs, whether they come out as shorts or maybe a full movie. Well, as of now, let's see what happens. But anyway, Toy Story 4 is one of my favorites in the fourth installment franchise. All right, moving on. Number 4, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Making number 4 as the fourth installment of the Harry Potter franchise, including the fourth installment of the Wizarding World. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire has tackled some many important themes, particularly adulthood. And as always, the casting of characters, which includes Daniel Radcliffe, as Harry Potter, Rupert Grint as Ron Weasley, and Emma Watson as Hermione Granger were all very good in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. So basically, they also had the return of Voldemort, which is actually surprising in the fourth installment of the Harry Potter film. Now basically with the Goblet of Fire part, this was basically based on a contest called the Tri-Wizard Tournament, and with the Goblet of Fire, they needed students that are above the age of 17 to participate in that competition. What was actually surprising is that someone put Harry Potter's name in the Goblet of Fire, not to mention Harry Potter was 14 in this movie, which is actually surprising because it tackled a lot of adulthood themes because like I mentioned, like because in the Harry Potter movie for the Goblet of Fire tournament, you had to be over at the age of 17 to participate, and it's actually surprising of how they let Harry Potter be in the competition, which is basically surprising for Harry Potter since he was 14. I also still like the action sequences though. They're still pretty good. Visuals are real good too, and the dragon battle with Harry Potter and a Hungarian Horntail was actually a pretty good moment in that film, which I actually enjoy. And oh man, there's so much more to talk about. But anyway, it did tackle a lot of adulthood themes in that movie, which I really thought was a good addition to the Harry Potter franchise, as each movie in the Harry Potter franchise tackles a lot of adulthood, which I thought that was pretty good. All right, moving forward. Number 3, Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. Speaking of Disney and Pixar, Brad Bird took a break from doing animated movies to directing his first ever live-action film, which is Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. Now, I give Brad Bird points for literally making an awesome Mission Impossible movie, because Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol is considered to be one of the greatest Mission Impossible movies of all time. And speaking of Brad Bird, he also had composer Michael I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing this right. Michael Giacchino, who also composed the score for Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, while J.J. Abrams and Tom Cruise were also producing this film. Speaking of which, Tom Cruise also stars in this film as well. And what I like about Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol is literally how it still has the spy thriller theme to it, as to what Brad Bird did in his animated film, in his Disney and Pixar film, The Incredibles, which he later went on to do it again in The Incredibles 2 in 2018. Anyway, and basically, there's so many good moments in Mission Impossible 4. It's hard to pick one that I really enjoy, but I feel like it's literally the tallest tower scene, where Tom Cruise was literally climbing a glass tower. Literally, I thought the cinematography was amazing for that. It just wonders how were they able to film that. And oh man, I forgot the name of that tower. Oops, excuse me. I forgot the name of that tower anyway. I literally forgot the name of the tower, but that moment alone was literally amazing due to the cinematography, and it gets you wondering how did they film it. And as always, the score by Michael Giacchino was also great, including the opening credits. Like, they did very well with the opening credits sequence. I think it was the dynamite sequence, because I'm pretty sure they did something like that in the original Mission Impossible series. Anyway, that's why I really enjoy Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, and I think there's another one coming out. I think there are talks of a possible 7th Mission Impossible movie that will be coming out. But anyway, moving forward. Number 2, Mad Max Fury Road. Okay, when I started making this list, I thought this would be my number 1, but anyway, number 1 will be coming up pretty soon. I think it's going to be obvious for the number 1 spot. But anyway, number 2 is Mad Max Fury Road. Continuing on in the post-apocalyptic world, Max, played by Tom Hardy, who used to be played by Mel Gibson, is on a mission. Is later again, who's on a mission for survival in a post-apocalyptic world. Basically, this film deals with the whole survival theme, since, as we all know, in a post-apocalyptic setting deals with the survival theme. Now, what I actually like about this movie is basically the action sequences, the score by Junkie XL, George Miller returning to direct the fourth installment, who previously directed the third films, and also, fun fact, he also directed the Babe movie, including the 2006 animated film Happy Feet. Now, what I really like about this movie, continuing on, is basically the great direction by George Miller, including the writing. I thought the score by Junkie XL, aka Tom Hokenberg, was literally amazing, and literally the costume design, the makeup, even the cinematography is excellent. Like it's literally amazing. You can tell like the movie itself was literally amazing. I can't even describe it. I'm literally out of words. Not to mention, basically Max is teamed up with Furiosa, played by Charlize Theron, to go on to be on the survival mission from the villainous Immortan Joe, played by Hugh Keys Burns, who recently played another villain in the first Mad Max film as the motorcycle gang leader Toe Cutter. And it's actually surprising. I really enjoyed this movie. It's literally an amazing action movie. It literally keeps me on the edge of the seat, including the audience as well. Fun fact, it was nominated for 10 Oscars, winning 6. That's actually pretty amazing, making it the first Mad Max film winning the Oscar in the Mad Max franchise. All right, moving forward. Number 1, Avengers Endgame. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys saw this coming, because taking the top spot on this list is the film that culminated 22 Marvel Cinematic Universe movies since 2008's Iron Man. That's right, Avengers Endgame. As I mentioned last week about Avengers Infinity War, the story was all over the place. Now, same with Endgame. Now, Endgame picks up where Infinity War left off, which is basically Thanos wiping out half of humanity. And now he is inedible. And yes, this film alone literally takes the time traveling genre into a whole new level. Literally, what I like about this movie is literally the story itself. They did a very nice job with the story, and the performances, particularly of Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, was very good. And I thought the other cast members were very good as well as their characters. And the musical score by Alan Silvestri was also good too. Joe and Anthony Russo's direction, screenplay, oh man, the visuals, literally everything about this movie was literally very good. Especially the final battle. The final battle of Avengers Endgame blew my mind. Literally seeing everybody return, all the characters. Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, the Guardians of the Galaxy, even the Ravagers, including the Asgardians. Man, so many characters have returned. So many characters have returned in this movie to face off against the mad Titan Thanos. Literally amazing. Literally that final battle was literally amazing. Blew my mind away. Literally is everything amazing. And that's why Avengers Endgame is considered to be my number 1 choice for my top 10 favorite fourth installments. And as for Iron Man, we love you 3000. Sorry, I had to do that. I had to, people. I'm sorry. I had to. It was very good. All right, and there you have it. My top 10 favorite fourth installments in movies. All right. Yes, I know some of these movies at the start. I know the first 4 movies. I'm not talking about the I'm not talking about I'm not talking about the top six. I'm talking about like the first four movies from the bottom. Yes, I know they did have their fair share of flaws, but I did and do enjoy I do enjoy those movies. So those four movies from the bottom of my list. I do enjoy those four other films, and I know some people may say they can be still bad, but they're actually pretty good. I do enjoy Star Wars Episode 1, X-Men Origins Wolverine, Rocky 4, and Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I do enjoy those movies despite the flaws, and basically that is just my point of those movies anyway. And as always, Avengers Endgame is my number one top choice for favorite fourth installments of all time. And that actually came into my mind since I went to see Avengers Endgame. And it was literally everything I can ever expect for that film anyway. All right, so anyway, that's it for today for Codo's Cinema. Anyway, if you guys have a favorite fourth installment that you have in mind, please don't be afraid to explain and do it. Don't be afraid to do it or explain anyway. Anyway, thank you all for tuning in, and I hope you all have a very good Monday afternoon and an amazing week. And I hope everyone's family weekend went pretty well because my family weekend was actually pretty good. And as always, enjoy your Monday as well as your week in college. I am your host, Mark Codo. I will see you all later. Have a good day, everyone.